Now we got you, right? Now we got you. Sorry. Sorry. All right. Okay, so what I said was, I don't remember totally, but I did say, look how awesome it is that Sir Goodenough was #1. Thanks for being here. As always, Sir Goodenough puts in a ton of time to help out on Discord, and he's always here on the live streams as my right-hand man, so thank you, sir. And I'm glad you got to be #1 tonight. Yeah. Way to go. I wish I had a prize for you. I'm sure I do. Just let me know what you need. I got a whole closet full of things. Okay. Oh, wait, here we get right off the bat. Okay, Sam Dar says Uno isn't working anymore. Okay, we're gonna answer these kinds of questions, and I've been getting a lot of them. It's LED season, right? So that's why I thought let's have a stream. I got an hour. Everybody else is out of the house doing other things. Ooh, forgot about this guy. Everybody else is out of the house doing other things, so I got about an hour before everybody comes home. We got to start doing bedtime and all that kind of stuff. So I thought let's get a stream in real quick, okay? And we're gonna just focus on LED stuff. We'll talk about some of these problems. We'll try and fix this Sam's problem or diagnose it. So we'll try and go through the steps of diagnosing these problems. I'll review a couple of things that people still have trouble with. And it's not that people still have trouble. It's just that new people have the same trouble as old people had before when they were new. So we just have to keep reviewing, and that's great. We'll do it. It's easy. And then I want to talk about some of the new things that we have in the store that Quindor made in the last few months and that we have available now that are pretty cool. Like some of these EA Plus boards, or is it AE Plus? I think it's AE Plus. And maybe if we get time, hopefully we'll look at the Octa, the DigOcta, which is a whole new monster, and it really is a monster. So that'll be kind of fun. But first, as we always have to do when we start a stream now, because I made a new partnership and they've been being pretty generous to me. PCBWay, sponsoring the video. They make PCBs. They make they'll do CNC routing, 3D printing, sheet metal folding. They'll assemble the PCB for you as well. So if you have a project or you've seen a project somewhere that requires a PCB, like if you wanted to build your own DigUno, for example, you can go on here and order the boards and stuff for them. And I don't know what it would cost to have them assemble a DigQuad or a DigUno. It'd probably be a lot more than what you could buy it for, but for a lot of other things, they are the place to go, especially if you need a one-off item or just a few items. But they do have the capacity to make bigger stuff, and if you are in the market to sell something. So there they are, PCBWay. They're a great sponsor. They've been a good partner to me for years, and there's a coupon in the description if you want to use any of their services. You get a little discount. Okay? All right. Now, let's move on to this question. So Sam, tell us more about what's going on with your Uno, Sam. What it's doing, and if possible, well, we'll see if we need to get to that, but oftentimes, depending on what the problem is, a picture or pictures will be helpful, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. While Sam is describing his problem, let me look through the rest of these initial comments and do a little roll call. Justin Z's was #2. Good job. Phil's here, and I said Thierry, I said hi, because he hasn't been around in a while. Thank goodness. Chris Peterson, how's it going, buddy? Did you need to come get something? No, that wasn't you. Okay. Ryan, I'm silent, people, blah, 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 blah. Quindor's here, thank goodness. I'll skip past all the things where everybody was telling me I have no mic. Great. Blade, you made it. Oh, man. We miss you. How's the babe? How's the babe? Pretty good? Doing fun things, and Go Blue is right. Justin and Blade having a party without us. Let's see. The pancake stack. You mean the quad pancake stack, Phil, or do you mean the EA or AE Plus stack? YouTube notifications were right on time today. Nice. I was yanking my plugs. Thought audio was me. Sorry. All right. So let's talk for a minute. And we have Quindor here, and Quindor has videos on all these things, right? At least he's talked about them in whose neck of, oh, you're up with Justin Z's in his neck of the woods? Oh, okay, here we go. Basically, Sam says, basically I plug it in and the lights turn on, so I know it works. I plug in a 12-volt supply and 12-volt lights, and they don't turn on. I tried the same strand on a quad, and they work. So
I don't know how to help with that.
Never mind.
Here are other things you can try.
Okay, Well, let me ask you a couple other things, Sam. When you say they work, you say they turn on. Let's see, you said you plug it in and the lights turn on. Which lights? So you mean like the light on the whiteboard on the ESP32, the little orange LED comes on? That's a good sign. You plug in a 12-volt power supply and a 12-volt lights, and the lights don't turn on. The lights on the board, yes, great. Okay, have you done an update of wLED manually? Because the first thing I would check is the LED output. So the LED output channel. So in here, we should probably update this one too. Is this one updated? Oh, it's 13.1. Okay, this one's probably fine. In the configuration, LED preferences, down here, so this is a bad example because this is on a different controller, but this, by default, when you update it manually, wLED comes with the default pin set to 2. Thank you, H Money, for subscribing. We'll do this as to not interrupt too much. But what you need for the Uno or the Quad is 16 if you're using an ESP32. No audio again? What? Yeah, I've got audio. I think this time it's you, Eduardo. DigOcta LED control system. Yeah, I've got it. Yeah, I don't know how to help with that. Did I say that? Okay, Sam, the strand does not light. Okay, what's Sam got to say next? Updated it manually. Okay, there you go. Thierry has no audio. Everybody else has audio. Nice squirrel attempt, though. So, Sam, do this, man. Change that to 16, and I bet that's your problem. Whenever you manually update, it will default back to 2. If you do the over-the-air update, it will be fine. Yes, it's on the 16 for the Uno. Yep, anytime you're using, in a hotel right off of Squirrel Road, no way, take a picture. You got to, before you leave that place, I know it's probably dark now, and don't go do it now, but take a picture of Squirrel Road and post it on Discord. That'd be sweet. That'd be fun. As I was saying, anytime you manually update wLED on an Uno or a Quad, if you're using an ESP32, which at this point everybody is, I hope, then you need to change that to 16. Yes, that was it. We did it. Success. We should probably quit while we're ahead. I'm not surprised it's a road in Michigan. Michigan ought to have a raccoon drive as well, and a random deer crossing drive. It's okay that it's okay, Sam. See, so if you caught what I was saying at the beginning because you were here, right? That is one of those problems that is an old problem that we've given the solution to many times, but it's in so many places. There's so much information. It's so spread out. As much as we try and be concise, YouTube doesn't just give you the right information even when you search for the right thing sometimes. I get comments from people asking me, today I had a lot of comments from people asking me about like, do I need to switch the voltage on the DigUno from 5 volts to 12 volts? And I'm thinking, goodness sakes, we haven't had to do that for like a year and a half or more, maybe. It's been a long time since we had to do that, it feels like. So I don't know if people are just searching for Christmas lights and finding old videos or something, but anyways, it's okay to have to go back and fix a problem. Okay, let's take a moment. Oh, boom, sorry. I bet you heard that, didn't you? Let's take a moment and look at the these new boards, okay? I want everybody to see these new boards because this is an important new thing that Quindor has created, which has a lot of good new features and also fits a lot of purposes that I think people aren't aware we have solutions to already at this point. So here we go, all right? So this is the AE Plus, and AE is for the external antenna. So underneath each of these, and I will, I even have them on I have them on the DrZzs store now too. Underneath each of these little guys, you have an ESP32, which is, oh boy, do they come apart? They do, right? Yeah, they do. Okay. Is the ESP32 with the external antenna. The external antenna ESP32s is the most popular. I think I may have a few of the Unos left, but the quads are already gone, and most of the Unos are gone. They go fast, fast, fast. The reason I think they go fast is because they are a very nice mix in between the onboard antenna, which sometimes has signal problems if you're trying to put it far away from your router, and not everybody has the ability to have an Ethernet cable. And so this, with the external antenna, really bridges the gap nicely. A couple things about this. Anytime you have the external antenna version like this, I'm just rummaging around my desk here looking for an actual antenna, which don't seem to have at the moment. Oh, there it is. If you have the external antenna version like this and you don't put the antenna on there, your Wi-Fi signal will be crap. Most likely, or at least it wouldn't be surprised, if you hook this up, you plug this thing in to power it on, even though it's got wLED on it, you won't see the access point. You won't see the Wi-Fi connection because the Wi-Fi signal might be so weak, because really you have like no antenna. So if you're going to do this, you got to pop that guy on there and make it so it actually has an antenna if you're going to want to get a decent signal from it. All right. So the reason I wanted to go into so much detail to show you that this is under here is because while these by themselves are not available right now, we don't have a lot of them, what we do have a lot of is these. So we do have it with these other boards on top, okay? Now, what do these other boards do that go on top? Am I putting this on the right way? Let's make sure I don't mess up and put it the wrong way. Nope, putting it the wrong way. Okay. When in doubt, make sure that the boards line up. See how they kind of line up that way? And not so much lined up that way, right? So don't do it the wrong way. Do it the right way. I had to look at the picture up there on the thing to see it. Okay, so what does this have on it? Bum, 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 bum. So this one that I'm holding in my hand here, oh yeah, does it have all the features? I think it does have all the features. Yes, it does. Okay, good. This is a full version. So there are 3 versions of the EA Plus, okay? There is the, they're on my site too, but there are 3 versions. Wait, what are you saying? Over here, trying his best not to be to squirrel. What are you doing? Do I switch the antenna like D1 Mini Pros? No, you do not need to solder a jumper. Nope, it's ready to go. Tell your wife, what are you guys doing? You guys are nuts. I don't know what's going on. I'm assuming you're not talking to me, so that's cool. I'm going to stay focused. What? Okay. So what these have, so there's 3 options. They have, first thing, they all have a capacitive touch button. It's a little fingerprint thing there. So you touch that, and it, because the ESP32 has that capacitive touch stuff built in, it has the ability to function like a button. And it tells you right here that it is connected to IO33. So we'll connect one of these up and we'll look at the wLED version on it. But it's got that touch button and it's connected to IO33. So that's a great, easy touch button. What else does it have? It has a microphone. It has a microphone. I know it's hard to see. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit better here, and I'll have to adjust my focus. I mentioned I'm having a harder time seeing as I'm getting older. I know. Okay, there we go. That's a little bit better anyways. Oh, somebody's paging me. Somebody's paging me. Boom, 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 boom. What happened?
Hey, dummy.
It said, hey, dummy. Cap touch on the remotes. It works great. Oh, hey, Tony. How you doing, man? Good morning. That thing works? Apparently it does. So me and Sir Goodenough were playing with it. I guess it worked. He must have just activated it, but I don't know what he needed. Oh, there it is. Oh, I tested it. Yeah, well, it worked. You got my attention. Successfully squirreled me right off my train of thought. Setting records for focus. It's over now, though. Yeah, for sure. Okay, back to this. I got to talk fast because I got an hour. So capacitive touch. Next, down here in the corner has a microphone. You can see a little thing under there, right? That little chippy guy right there. That's the little microphone. So you want to do audio reactive LED, wLED, and have it kind of dance to the music and all that stuff. Bingo, microphone built in. And it tells you, somewhere it tells you which pin it is. It's probably the same pin it always has to be, right? Quindor will tell us what pin it is. We'll look and see if we need to, but It's probably already in the settings. Another thing that it has that might be useful to some folks, and it's hard to see because of my camera at the moment, but right here in this corner, it has an IR receiver. So you can use one of those old silly, well, any IR sender actually, but one of those old remote controls that have the LED colors and stuff. You could probably program it. I don't know how they work. I've never done it with this thing, but now it has an IR receiver on there, so you can use it for IR, which has been a part of wLED for a bit now. If you go in here to the settings, is it on this page? It's probably not on this page. Anyways, there's a way you could, there's a setting in here we can look at somewhere in here that lets you do an IR device. Then we're gonna look at this. So what this does up here is it gives you an extra, is it 3? Yeah, it gives you an extra 3. Or is it extra 3 or is it just 3? Let's see, I think it's the extra 3. GPIO 21, 27, and 22. Yeah, so basically it makes it a quad. Is that right? Microphone pins in the pinout guide, since it's digital, it uses 3 pins. Oh, okay, cool. Happy birthday. Thank you very much, North Park. Appreciate that. Oh, camera. Thank you. 3 extra outputs use a 33R resistful, fully level shifted. That's fantastic. So those are 3 extra outputs. And can you still use the 2 outputs on the quad or on the Uno? So does this really make it 5 outputs? Oh boy, I don't want to start too much ruckus, but does this really make it 5 outputs? Because you got plus, minus, and then usually 2 outputs on the Uno. And now with this thing, you can add several more outputs. Oh my gosh, 5. So now there's 5 outputs. Wow, amazing. And then for the pixel heads, this one's for the pixel heads. This is the thing that they are dying to have. And that is, and anybody who runs X-Lights is this. This is an SD card reader right here. Now, wLED, you guys can correct me. We got plenty of, oh, you can put it on a quad and make it a 7? Oh, baby. So none of those are the same pins as they're on the quad even. 21, 17, 22. Holy cow. So a quad can now be a septo? Woo. Wow. Okay. This thing here, this is a card reader. If you use X-Lights and you have your sequences, you can put your sequences on the SD card here. And then through X-Lights, you basically just tell this board to run whichever sequence, and then it doesn't have to be constantly sending it over Wi-Fi or even over the network, right? They must be pins the Ethernet uses. Probably true. Am I on the right path? Oh, there we go. And you need to, in order to do that, Justin Z's just made this comment for me. The firmware has to change. So wLED doesn't make use of this, of the SD card reader, and it doesn't do the sequence storage and responsing. Your eye itches? Wait, how are you doing that? It's like I'm on a remote control. Stay focused, Blade, stay focused. So to do that, the firmware you need is ES Pixel Stick. So you'll have to change that. But if you're one of the guys that's using this for X-Lights and you're using that SD card slot, you're not going to have any problem changing the firmware for ES Pixel Stick. Okay, and I think ES Pixel Stick, I looked at it long ago before wLED was really the main thing, and there are some options on it. I haven't looked at it in a bit, but anyways. So that's what these have. Oh, what I meant to say too was this one is the full version. Okay, that's my air quotes. Full. This is the full version. Means it's got the 3 outputs. It's got the microphone, the IR blaster. There are other versions that don't have all those features. For example, this one you may be able to see is missing the IR blaster on this side, or receiver, and it's missing the microphone on this side. So this one just has the SD card and the extra outputs. So this one would be really good for somebody running X-Lights. This is probably the one that you're going to want if you're just running X-Lights. This one has the microphone here and the IR bit here, and they all have the capacitive touch, but this one doesn't have the outputs. Okay, so this is the mic IR version. So if you had a project in your house, you wanted it to work off of an infrared remote control or add the microphone for the bouncy features, then this is the one for you. And if you just can't decide and you're just one of those folks that's just like, I want it all, cake and eat it too, then get the full, okay? This came a long way. Even have the quad and Uno built into the flash tool they use, works nice. The SD card is for FPP sync packets or for X schedule. It's better than sending an E131 or DDP data. Amen, especially over Wi-Fi. Amen. Hey, Lawnmower Warrior, we were just having a whole bunch of chatting. He's got, he's doing his first project, his first house, or doing his house for the first time, is putting up the lights and stuff. And we were answering a bunch of questions, and his questions were things like the differences between the Unos and the quads. Oh, and that reminds me, I knew that there was extra things I wanted to talk about when Lawn Warrior came on. And here's what it is. Down in here, and this actually is a little bit dark, but we're going to go with it anyways. Down here, under the ESP32 board. So you pull this board off, and by the way, when you pull this off, there will be a row of exposed pins. That is okay. This little guy here will probably fall off. That is okay. People call me and say, or they write me and say, my thing broke. This thing broke. No, it didn't. It's okay. Those pins aren't used. Rather than cut them off, we just cover them. And if you don't have that thing on there, it's probably fine. Just trying to keep them from shorting out or touching anything else. Okay. So if you have an Uno or a quad, I think I have a quad here, but this quad doesn't have the dip switch. I'm the only dip switch around here. And I can't get it to go over there. But anyways, this one does not have the dip switch. So see, there's no switches here. So this is the one version previous, and it has one value of output resistors, the 249 value of output resistor. This one now, and all of these Unos and quads have these little switches. And what they're set to by default is the 249 resistor. Now, Quindor has a great article about this, about how you have, depending on which wires you're using and what kind of things will corrupt your data channel. Most of the time when I get people saying they have a problem with their lights, it is probably at least 3/4 of the time when people are having a problem with their lights of just about any kind. Doesn't matter what the lights are doing or something. It's almost always a data problem. A data problem. If we wanted to, we could even categorize what Sam brought up as a data problem. The problem with Sam's device was that the data was going to a different pin. So his lights were connected to GPIO 16 and the data was going to GPIO 2, and they couldn't talk. So that's a data break, basically. But a lot of times we have flickering or we have things just not doing the right stuff, and it's because of the data channel. So these little switches here are to help you get a nice clear signal in different conditions. The 249 resistor is what you set it to if you're going to have separate data cables. So you've got a data line separate from your power and your ground line. They're kind of physically separated. They're not like bundled together. Then the 249 is going to work really well for you. If you have a bundled cable where you've got your data wire in with your plus and minus wire, then most likely, especially if you're going to be any distance from your controller to your first pixel, you're going to want to switch this little data thing here to the 33. So what you would do is you kind of have to puncture this little orange thing here, or you can peel it off, but you just push those little switches up. And now it's set to the 33. Now, if you have the bundled cables, the wires that are all stuck together and the data wire is going with the others, that will have a nice clear signal. It'll be the right amount of whatever cancellation so that you'll have a nice clear signal and you can go a lot further from the board before you hit your first pixel. Okay. Yeah, you can peel off the orange plastic. It's not really anything ridiculous. It's just peel off this little orange thing. There you go. I just trimmed my fingernails like yesterday, so I have like no fingernails. Okay, there. Little orange plastic is gone. Okay. Right? So that's an important thing to say. Oh, the other thing that The other thing that Lawn Warrior was asking about was differences between Uno and the Quad, and when would you use them? The biggest benefit of the Quad, besides that it has more outputs, unless you have one of these, and then really you've got plenty of outputs, but the Quad is made with some extra power injection capabilities. All right, the Uno has one ground and one positive output. It doesn't mean you can't have multiple wires coming off of here. You still can do that, and that's what I talked to Lawn Warrior about, because I'm out of quads, but I still had Unos. So if you wanted to just run, if you needed power injection, you wanted to run a power injection off of here, you just put 2 ground wires in here and 2 positive wires in here. That's what I would do. That way you're still protected by the fuse. You could, of course, just go to your power supply and go straight off, but then you wouldn't have the fuse protection. If you come off of here, then at least you're protected by this same fuse. So yeah, just take extra wires off of the plus and the minus here for power injection on the Quad. Probably wouldn't do more than 2. I don't think you could get 3 in there, but 2 is probably still fine. And you can do 2 data channels here. The default is this number 1, but you can also do number 2. And the other features that are different, I guess this is because it's built to handle more power. You've got bigger terminals on this side. And what else? See, this one has the external thing, but this one sort of does too. It's just a little bit harder to get to. This brings me to another point, and I had a fella who was having an issue, and I think actually his board is here. We could maybe even open this up. I had a guy who was he was having some trouble, and he was like, my ESP32 is working fine, and then when I plug it into the Quad, it stops working. And I said, well, that ain't no good. So we were looking at it, and he sent me some pictures of it. Like I said, pictures are very helpful. He sent me some pictures of it, and it was missing a diode on the bottom. Oh no, this is not the same one. This is somebody else. Somebody else sent me this one. He probably was just unhappy or something. I wonder why. Oh, I know why. He wanted external antennas, and he didn't buy external antennas, so he bought regular quads. That's what that came back. Anyways, one of the diodes was missing, but one of the things I wanted him to try and do was to power the ESP32 by connecting his 12 volts here. Because he said when he connected it here, it worked, but if he connected the power here, it didn't work. So the circuitry under here, basically what he was missing was like this little diode right here had fallen off in the bag or something. It had gotten shaken off along the way. But what this little green one does here is it lets you supply power just to the board if you wanted to switch your big power supply with a relay, which is a really, really cool thing to do. And I have a little video about that. So does Quindor probably as well. Okay. Let's see. What other questions you have about that? Let's go back up here. Will the DigQuad, let me go back to this. Will the DigQuad drive 5 20B with 1 per stream? Yes, all wired together with power injection of the proper power supply. Of course, yes, it will. So you're with the Quad, with each of these controllers, you can do, I keep going lower on my numbers because I want to try and be, I'm turning over a new leaf. I'm going to be a little bit more conservative in some of my estimations. You can easily run 600 lights per channel. 800 lights is probably fine. Once you get up to about 1,000 or more, 1,200, you may start getting some lag. There's always going to be a drop off when you have more information to send, like how fast it can send it. There's a limit, and so you start seeing a little more lag, like less frames per second. So if that matters to you, how smooth it is, it's going to be less smooth if you add more lights, and that's a problem if you're doing big sync shows and stuff. For most people, you won't even notice it. If you're just doing some random cool colors in a fun little pattern on your roof line, it probably won't make any difference. But 150 per channel is no problem. Oh, you're doing 550 per strip. Well, now let's multiply that out. So your WBase 2812B, 150. So you're doing, is that 4? So that would be 900 total, right? So 900 total. You're looking at quite a bit of current there. I mean, it will do it, but it'll be quite a bit of current. Let's see, 900. Where's my calculator? Somebody do this. I still stick with my same old. 900 times, I'm going to say 0.02. So 18 amps. 18 amps. So yeah, you can do it, but you'll definitely want to do some power injection with that many, especially 5-volt lights. Once you get with 150, you'll definitely want to put power injection at least every other strip, if not at every strip. 750, thank you. Sorry. 900 is even better. Okay, let's see. LED's game has come a long way from the Node MCU controllers. Amen. Glad I have been playing since 17-ish, yeah? It's still a lot of fun. I just, a good friend of mine just came by the house last night to get a couple of Unos to change out for his dad and his neighbor, because they put him up back in like 17, 18 as well. Same as me with like a D1 Mini or Node MCU, you know. It's way better now than it was then. You kids, you young kids, you got it so easy now. Okay, what else? What other questions there? You have Unos? Yeah, I do actually. I still do. Do you need one? I always keep a couple to the side. Let me know. What was I going to say? I was talking about a thing.
Huh?
Oh, I think I was gonna look at like some of these problems that people have been having and kind of address that a little bit. Let's see. What about signal integrity in the string? If you split into a group of about 12 LEDs 2 meters apart, top of the fence post. Very good question, Mark. Very good question. And let's see. Quindor had an answer for you. Could cause an issue. Might be DataBooster to bridge the gaps. Exactly. Thank you guys for the perfect segue. I promise I didn't plant them in the audience. Okay. So what are we talking about? When you have your LEDs in a string, generally they're very close together, several inches apart at the most, right? Even if you're in a strip, it's even less. But if you need to make a gap between those LEDs, so you get to one point, like somebody said, fence post. That's a good example. Most people run into it on their roof. So you do one roof line, and then you need a break. You stop putting LEDs, and you just want to run wire to some other point in the roof, and then put another, then restart your string of LEDs. If that distance between where you stop one string and where you start the next string, so between those 2 pixels, the last one here and the first one here, if that distance is less than or around 10 feet, you're probably fine. And you may not have a problem at all. If it gets much longer than that, then you potentially will have a problem. And what you will usually see is that the LEDs on the far end will be doing their own thing. They're dancing to a different drum. I can't predict for you what they're going to do. They may flicker. They may just do the wrong thing. They may just be solid and stuck on and never change. All variety of things are possible, except they probably won't work right. That's the only thing that they won't do is the right thing. So I like to say if they're misbehaving, if you have LEDs, especially if you've jumped a gap and then you've got some LEDs misbehaving on the far side, then you need to boost the data. And with Quindor's little data booster here, which I've got in my hand right here, got an unopened one. I should use one that's already opened though, instead of opening one. Let's see, data booster, data booster, data booster, data booster. Maybe I don't have any that are open. Maybe that's why I have an unopened one on my desk. Data booster. Okay, heck, we're gonna open it. Oh well. Okay, this is El Data Booster. Now the Data Booster works like a data booster. Okay, power and data and ground go in one side. There's an arrow. Power, data, and ground go out the other side. There is also a little switch on here. Okay, there's a switch. It goes between 249 and 33. It's the same as the little switch that's on here. Same function. Okay. Generally, again, if you're using bundled wire, you don't want to switch that to 33. Right? If your wires are bundled together. And then you can, he gives you the option here of very conveniently using some of these little fork guys and a couple screws to add some power injection here to the sides. Okay, so you can do that to boost the voltage here as well, which is usually a good idea also if you're going to be jumping a gap. You don't have to, depends how far from the power supply you are and whether you're using 12 volts or 5 volts or whatever, but you have the option. It comes with a little hardware. Okay, now I've gotten away with using this in the last video that I did about installing these lights and stuff and track and stuff on your house. I got away with using this at the beginning of the gap. So I had a gap where the LEDs stopped, and then I had, I don't know, 15, 18 feet, maybe. It was not a short distance of wire before I restarted the LEDs. I took these boards and I set it to 33, and I put it basically right after the last pixel. So the last pixel got cut, space between the pixels. I put one pixel, the output, I connected to the input here, and then I connected a long wire over and connected it to the first pixel on the other part of the roof. And it worked fine. That may not be everybody's scenario. And it could depend on a variety of things. How many LEDs you have, how far from your starting point you are, what your voltage is at this point. Okay. If you do that, if you put it at the beginning, I did it because it was convenient, and it's easier to keep this thing out of the weather and stuff. You want to wrap it and make it as waterproof as you can. And it's easier to keep it out of the weather if you can stick it up in the track. So that's why I did it that way. But you may find that that doesn't solve the problem. And in that case, if it doesn't solve the problem, what you probably need to do is put this data booster in the middle of the gap. So instead of pixel, instead of last pixel, then data booster, then wire, then next string, you may need to go last pixel, wire, data booster in the middle, and then more wire to the next string of lights. That should solve your problem if you had it, even after adding the data booster to the beginning. Okay. There are other things like this. A lot of these guys will talk about them. Yep. Like Phil, who just mentioned it, F-amp. An F-amp is basically is a pixel like this without a pixel. Okay. It basically is a pixel without a pixel. It's a very simple booster like this, where it just kind of gives that data signal, gets it back up to the voltage it needs to be so that it can travel another 8, 10 feet or 10, 12 feet. If you're using that, you may get away with it at the beginning, but I really wouldn't expect you to. I don't know what else an F-amp might do to work at the beginning, but it may not work. If you're going to use an F-amp or a pixel, that's the other thing you can do. Say you don't have this, or we're out of stock, or you don't have an F-amp, or you can't get one. You can just take a pixel, just one of those pixels, any one of those pixels, and put it in the middle of that gap. And if you don't want to see it, paint it, cover it with something, whatever, just leave it blank, and it will serve the same function as an F-amp to help your data to bridge that gap. It'll start to die off in the middle of the gap, and then it will find the extra pixel. The 12 volts will go in, or hopefully 12 volts, or maybe 5, whatever. Boost the data back up to the voltage it needs to be, and then it'll send it on to the next pixel intact. If without that extra pixel there, it just degrades too far by the time it gets to the other side of the gap. So those are your three options when you have to jump a gap. You can get one of these data boosters. You can get an F-amp, or you can just put a pixel in the middle of the gap, and that should get you there. Okay? This would be a really nice thing to turn into a shorter video, wouldn't it? Yeah. Okay. The ground, let's see. What do we got going? I love these guys. You guys are talking about stuff. Black hot glue works well. You can just dip it in black hot glue. Marshmallow is our resident hot glue expert, by the way. If you need anything molded, he does sculptures out of hot glue, I hear. Beautiful. Some people do ice. Some people do marble. He does hot glue. These boosters increase the voltage difference. Okay. The data line is always about 5 volts. I should design a 3D print, cover a bullet pixel to black it out. Yeah, do it. Do it, Napadad. Do it. How's it going, Matt? All right. What is the difference between the Falcon booster and the Quinn booster? Oh, there you go. There you go. Deveros TV, you got the answer. Booster works for 2-year-old boards. Yeah, sure. Sure. If you have a 2-year-old board and it's still functioning, you are one lucky man, Robert. A lot of those, especially the 8266s or those cheap blue ones that we were using for a while, if you got a good one, you probably do fine, but a lot of them died pretty quickly. Is it better or easier on the ESP32 to leave it on 24 or cut the power when not using it? Eric, I think it's better. And I did a video about adding a relay to your LEDs that talks about this and shows some of the options for doing this. I would leave the ESP32 on all the time, because then it stays connected to your network. It's always there if you want to change something with your lights, you don't have to worry about powering it on. You don't want it to, I mean, I don't know if it'd reset, but you know, if you make a router change or who knows, you know, I would leave the ESP32 powered on, but it is very smart to set it up so that your power supply, or at least your LEDs, can power down. If you're going to power down your power supply, that means you're going to have to have a second power source for your ESP32, which may be fine, may be a problem. You may not want to do that. If you don't, if you still just want to use one power supply for your LEDs and the ESP32, you can still set up a relay so that it just turns off the power to your lights, and that will save you power more than anything. I don't know if it does anything to your lights to leave them powered on for a long time. I don't think so, because I've had my same lights powered on constantly, because I don't actually have a relay on mine, because I do what I say, not what I do. Anyways, because I don't want to get back up there. That's the whole point of putting these things up, is I want to put them up and leave them up. So that's what I've done. But if you, mine have been powered on the whole time. They're 5-volt lights, and I've had, I think I see one light that has turned red, or it's red when it's supposed to be something else. So I think it just doesn't have, like, the green or the blue or one of those colors went out. But otherwise, it's good. You have a relay hooked up now via your vid. Thanks. Okay, great. What's a good source for DIY LED props? That is what I'm starting with this year. Raspi. Ooh, you got to go see the Pixel Heads, brother. Talk to the Pixel Heads. They know all the dudes. They know all the dudes. I know there's a new fella near me that I've met and have been working with more closely. His name's Jeff, and I think his website is called Coro Decoro or something. He cuts props. I can tell you who. Well, I won't even. Pixel Heads. Who would you absolutely tell them not to go to? Is there somebody you would say don't get props from X? Maybe we shouldn't even give them the time of day enough to say that, but whatever. There's plenty of good guys out there. I think the what is the other the props guys? Don't buy them from Blade. Is Holiday Coro, is that my nemesis? Is that the guy? Not to Holiday Coro. Yeah, that's the guy. That's Dave. He is a piece of work. He's the guy. I think I mentioned this to you guys at some point on a previous stream. Like, and this is going to be public now, so this will be Dave. You can respond or not respond to my challenge here. There's a Christmas decoration show. I guess it's not just Christmas. I think it's even Halloween and other things too. I don't know, but it's like into February or beginning of February, and I guess it's a big deal. I'm going for the first time, and I think that our Holiday Coro friend should participate with me in a charity boxing match. We are going to sell tickets to put me and Dave in a boxing ring and have some fun. I've never seen Dave. I don't know. Maybe he's 300 pounds and full of muscle. I don't know, but I still want to punch him. I think we'd sell a lot of tickets. I think a lot of people want to see Dave from Holiday Coro get punched. Right? Oh, yeah. That's a challenge. I've thrown down the gauntlet now. Okay. What else? Other things? Should we talk about this? Buys AdWords under competitors' names. Yeah, he tried to flat out sell Permatrack as like his own thing, just put that name on it and pretend to be his own lawyer. He's a piece of work. Anyways, let's talk about the Octa. Should we? I have just a few minutes left, so let's try about the Octa. Shielded cable on the gaps. Yes, and it does also work. So maybe we should put that in there, Eduardo, as a fourth. It may work. Yeah. Shielded cable might also help. True that. Let's get out the Octa and at least look at it, and let's bring up the website. So I pulled up the website here so you guys could see. Oh, he doesn't have pictures yet. Still under construction and subject to change. Okay. Well, I'm going to pull out mine, okay? I still have it in the bag, so we get to open it. This is an unboxing of the DigOcta. Okay. Bum. And I have to admit, I have seen, Quindor has shown me some stuff, and I have watched some of his videos about it, but it's not that fresh in my mind. I haven't looked at it recently. I've been meaning to get this out and just been too many other things going on, especially since I got orders in and I've been filling orders in most of my free time. But here we are. He's an anesthesiologist in a hospital. He makes people put, oh, yes. Oh, man, Octa unboxing. It's the real deal. Here it is. Okay, so the Octa is made up of several parts, okay? Several pieces go into this. I have other fun things off screen that I'm not going to show you. We'll let Quindor tell you about that later. So I guess what Quindor's saying is it's all about power. So the Octa is going to be another option for big displays, right? Big displays. Okay. The Octa has a brain board. This is the brain board right here. Okay, the brain board has, let's look at it and point with my little pointer. Back down here now. Whoop. The brain board has, I need my glasses. Yeah, I have to go pick up Dawson in 10 minutes. The brain board has an ESP32 that runs it all. It's got an SD card slot. It's got Ethernet. It's got a USB-C jack. And it's got, what do these guys connect to? These are for the LED outputs right there. Okay. Then with the Octa, you've also got, and I'm not getting into that too much, but there it is. Let's see, there's how many LED outputs? I'm going to guess 8. But then there's also outputs for, there's extra grounds. Oh, Ethernet enable. So if you wanted to enable the Ethernet, you got to have that on there. There's two button outputs here. You can do some ground outputs, 3-volt ground. And then you got clock and so SCL and SDA, so clock and data output if you're running different kinds of LEDs, right? There's relay output over here, so trigger ground. They're labeled so well, so easy to read. Well done, my friend. Quindor, as always, you're amazing. There's a micro SD card slot, which I think I pointed out for a second there. And there, power input. If you wanted to power just this, that's what that is. Now, the Octa family also includes several power distribution boards. So look at this thing. What? So this one is is this the 5 or the 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, maybe it's here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I guess it's Octa. Oh, Power 5 board. So this is the Power 5 board. And does that mean, is that because it has, this is what happens when you don't look at it close enough. You got, man, this thing is beefy. It's going to take some serious power. Voltage display. Oh, I wish I could just get all this fired up. I'm sorry I waited too long to start doing this. So this basically sits on top here, right, and lets you make all your connections, and this is the brains. And then depending on what you want to do with your power distribution output, you have the choice of the 5, the power board 5. Here is a, can I show them the big one too? Here is a power board 7, which is amazing. And I love these terminals, by the way. These terminals are awesome. So good, so good. You can just put the wires right in there. These will, you know, these you can do with those big connectors, which is nice, but this is so convenient to have these. So same thing, just more power distribution stuff to come off of there. And then there's this thing, which I don't even know when you're gonna, I don't even know what you're gonna do with this. I mean, if you live in a shopping mall and you need to supply LED power to the entire shopping mall, here you go. This thing takes 100 amps. 100 amps. Man, oh man. It feels like it takes 100 amps. I'll tell you that. This thing probably weighs 3 pounds, right? So crazy. So, but all of them function with this brain board. So based on what you want to do and what your application is, you can do all variety of new things. So basically you've got the DigUno at the sort of low end of your project size. Okay, so that does a lot of things, but there's a limit to it, what you can get out of it, and especially how much power you can put through it. Then you've got the quad, which I've got over here, and you've got the quad, which is an upgrade. You've got several extra power distribution things that can put more current through the board, a couple extra outputs. Then you've got the Octa. In the Octa, you've got the brain and the LED outputs, and then a ton of power outputs. Ton of power outputs. Woo, mama, and a lot of it. So if you're doing a big display and you want to, and this, I mean, look at this thing has the SD card, right? So does this thing, can this thing run ES Pixel Stick? Is that the plan here? Secrets. Shh. And I will, well, that's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to say anything else. I'm not going to say anything else. I'll make sure nothing's in my camera. All right. What do you guys think? Yes, it can run Pixel Stick and wLED, right? So with this thing, think about you guys that do your displays, right? Your pixel heads. Here you've got a way to bring in flipping 100 amps. I mean, good gravy. Or, you know, something reasonable. You can either do 100 amps or you can be reasonable. But anyways, you put the brain board on. You can do the same thing with the ES Pixel Stick and your SD card here. And you put this out in your yard and you've got power distribution and data out to 8 different props. That's pretty amazing. That is pretty amazing. Quindor will have to fill us in on things like availability and pricing. But once again, he has exceeded our expectations. And the LED outputs have little dip switches. I just noticed. That's cool. Is that the same thing? Oh, yep. And the LED outputs have dip switches as well. Same thing. Same thing. So these are just, so basically your data lines come out of here and your power lines come out of here, right? So power comes out down here, plus minus. Yep. So plus minus comes out of these and data comes out of this. So data, power, data, power. Display for voltage. I'm excited. I'm excited. I can say, I wish I could talk about it more, and we will talk about it more. And thank you. There's so many good people here, and I'm sorry that now I'm going to cut it off right in the middle, but I am in charge of picking up Dawson from football practice at 8 o'clock. So I can hang out for a couple more minutes, but then that dude's going to be cold and sweaty and waiting out in the dark. Sadly, no, just voltage. HC is for a big matrix. The display shows the current. Oh, I see. Yeah, nope. PCBWay, that's right. Thank you, PCBWay, for sponsoring the video. Lane, you're wonderful. Appreciate your support and your help. And I hope you guys are finding reasons to see what PCBWay has to offer, because they've been good to me. And thank you, Quindor. Quindor is a master. Master. You posted a video, Blade, about Node-RED? Oh, you posted a video in Discord of something catching on fire? Ooh. Robots. Too much cool. Too much cool. I didn't even get to talk to you guys about something that I want to work on, which is completely unrelated to LEDs, but I want to throw something in there for the LED guy, or for the non-LED guys, and just tell you I've got other, like, I don't have enough going on. So I'm branching. I'm not really branching too much differently. I'm just following more of my passions. My passion hasn't really been to, like I just started with smart home stuff and LEDs, and at LEDs I've still done a lot of the smart home stuff. I still do, but if you look at some of these other guys, Rob and oh my gosh, I always forget. I want to say Alex. Is it Alex? Smart Home Solutions or something. Oh my gosh, he's gonna hate me. He's never gonna talk to me again. Anyways, you know what I'm talking about. There's the guys that are just really like into what's the latest switch and what's the latest this and that. And I like to tinker and learn and do different stuff. So I'm doing some more of those sorts of things. I'm gonna throw out there. And you've seen my electric bug and my golf carts and my silly things too. But I'm going to double down on the silliness coming up here. And one of the things that I want to do is this particular thing. I want to set up and I've got a specific thing in mind, but I'm basically going to take a Raspberry Pi, this hat that has motion, or it has a couple of servos on it and holds a camera, and it processes the information and tracks objects. It's going to be fun. And there's other things out there too. But I'm so sad to leave all of my good streamers or stream viewers. Anybody else? Zach, are you home? Zach's not home. I'm gonna have to go. Dawson, I know he's waiting for me out in the cold. Okay, no Q Power Post talk. Which one's the Q Power Post? What's Q Power Post? I don't know what that is. What's Justin Z? Q Power Post. What's that? Video and Discord. Okay, guys. Well, hey, thanks for being here. And I appreciate everybody. I like having these streams in the evenings, and it's kind of nice to know that I could just pop in sometimes and get... and oops, I think I just joined. Oh, that's what you did. Oh, did you make that robot? Adventure in Detroit. Oh, awesome. That is cool. That is cool. Okay, anyways, LS Motor Installation Service, maybe that too. Lewis, thank you. Gosh, what did I say? Alex? Anyways, tomorrow I think is Home Assistant reveal for the latest update for the month. So anyways, thanks for being here, everybody. Blades are good enough. Quindor, the gang, the Pixel Heads, love you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hope we got some help out to some of the people that need it. And if not, go to Discord. There's lots of good people. We got a good community. Everybody stay safe. Take care. As always, thanks for watching. Until next time, adios.